Hello friends, today we are going to learn basic concepts of thermodynamics. In this session we will learn second and third law of thermodynamics. My name is Professor S.V. Kumbar from Sharad Institute of Technology, College of Engineering, Yadra. These concepts will be helpful to heat transfer, refrigeration and air conditioning subject. So first we will see introduction. So, a process must satisfy the first law in order to occur. In earlier video lecture, we have studied first law of thermodynamics, and the statement was energy cannot be created nor it can be destroyed, but it can be transformed from one form to another form. Satisfying the first law alone does not ensure that process will take place. For example, we have studied the generation of electricity. In order to produce electricity, we require initial input energy. It must be heat energy or potential energy. In case of hydroelectric power plant, potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy at the turbine shaft, and mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy. Similarly, in case of steam turbine, heat energy is converted into mechanical energy, and mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy. But first law alone does not ensure that the process will take place. Means here applying first law, whether kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy, that process we will not ensure that the process takes place, or heat energy is converted into mechanical energy, we don't ensure that the process takes place. So that's why second law is implemented. We will see drawbacks of first law of thermodynamics later on, but the second law is useful to provide means for predicting the direction of processes, establishing the condition of for equilibrium, determining the best theoretical performance of cycle, engine and other devices. So these are the some advantages of second law. So limitations of first law of thermodynamics. We will take one example. A cup of hot coffee does not get hotter in cooler room. So first law of thermodynamics does not give the direction of heat flow, whether a heat transfer takes place from hot fluid to cold fluid or from cold fluid to hot fluid. So in this first example, a hot coffee which is kept in cup, it is placed in a colder room. So what will happen? Here heat transfer will take place from cup to colder room and not from colder room to hot cup. So here the direction of heat transfer does not explain in first law of thermodynamics. Here a cup of hot coffee does not get hotter in a cold room. It will definitely get cooler because heat will transfer from hot coffee to ambient air. This is the first reason, or this is the first drawback of first law of thermodynamics. Transferring heat to a paddle will work. It will not run, cause it to rotate. So lowering down weight, it will rotate shaft which is connected to prime mover. It will generate a heat by rotating a paddle will work. But if you supply heat once again to paddle will work, it will not cause that paddle will work to rotate, and it will not cause lowering down that weight. This is second drawback of first law of thermodynamics. Third drawback, as we know, when current passes through resistance, heat energy is produced. Here, if we supply heat energy to resistance, it will not generate electricity. These processes cannot occur even though they are not in violation of the first law. So these are the limitations of first law of thermodynamics. Second law of thermodynamics. So first, Kelvin-Planck statement. It is impossible to construct a device which operates on a cycle and produces no other effect than heat transfer from single body in order to produce work. Here one example is shown. A thermal reservoir is shown. Heat energy is extracted from that thermal energy reservoir with the help of heat engine, and work is obtained from heat engine. The best example is internal combustion engine. In internal combustion engine, heat is produced by burning a fuel. That heat energy is converted into mechanical work, and that mechanical work is used for different purposes. Here the statement is, it is impossible to construct a device which operates on a cycle which produces no other effect than transfer of heat from a single body in order to produce a work. There is not a single engine which is having 100% efficiency. Whatever amount of heat extracted from thermal reservoir, it is given to the engine which produces work continuously. So if we consider 100% or 100 kilowatt heat extracted from thermal reservoir, here 100 kilowatt will not be converted into work done even if loss is there. So no heat engine can have a thermal efficiency of 100%. If 100 kilowatt heat is extracted from thermal reservoir and thermal 100 kilowatt heat or work is obtained from the engine, we can say that its efficiency is 100%. But heat engine does not have 100% efficiency. We will see the details of heat engine in the next slide. So heat engine. What is a heat engine? Heat engine is a device which extracts some amount of heat energy from heat source, and that heat energy is liberated to heat sink, and by doing thus it produces work. So here in this diagram it is shown, a red colored part is the heat source and blue colored part is the heat sink. What is heat source? Heat source is that source, even if we reject some amount of heat energy, its temperature will not be affected. Similarly, heat sink is that region, even if we supply some amount of heat energy, its temperature will not be affected. So in heat engine, some amount of QH is extracted from heat source. That heat is utilized by engine, and while doing so it produces work done. Work is obtained from heat engine, and some amount of heat is extracted to heat sink, that is cold sink, and work is obtained from heat engine. So heat engine receive heat from a high temperature source, and it converts this heat energy in the form of work. They reject remaining waste heat energy to a low temperature sink to atmosphere. They operate on a cycle. So final stage and initial state are same. So one best example is shown, that is thermal power plant. It is a work producing device that best fit into definition of heat engine, that is steam power plant, which is an external combustion engine. So in boiler works as energy source such as furnace. So heat is produced in boiler by burning a coal. That heat energy is utilized to convert water into steam. This steam expands in the blades of steam turbine, where heat energy is converted into mechanical work. Due to continuous expansion of steam, heat energy is converted into mechanical work, that is continuous rotation of shaft. This shaft is coupled to the generator which produces electricity. Because of expansion of steam, its pressure drops down. This low pressure steam is condensed. Here heat is rejected, Q out, to energy sink such as atmosphere. Here again low pressure, low temperature steam is condensed to a water or condensate. That condensate is again pumped with the help of condensate pump. For that purpose work has to be supplied, and that condensate is again sent to boiler, where again steam is generated, and thus cycle is repeated. So coming back to thermal efficiency, what is efficiency? In general term, efficiency means output upon input. If any process is executed, so its output and input is observed, and the ratio of output to input is known as efficiency. So thermal efficiency represents the magnitude of energy wasted in order to complete the cycle. For example, if we consider internal combustion engine once again, if its thermal efficiency is 40%, what does it means? Only 40% work is obtained from engine, even if 100% heat is supplied. So 60% heat is going to waste. Thermal efficiency is a measure of performance that is called as thermal efficiency. Thermal efficiency can be expressed in terms of the desired output and the required input. So we can represent thermal efficiency as the ratio of desired result to required input. For a heat engine, the desired result is the net work done and input is the heat supplied. The desired result, that is net work, can be calculated by subtracting supplied heat minus rejected heat. The thermal efficiency is always less than 1 or less than 100%. So thermal efficiency can be represented as net work done, that is the output, upon heat supplied, that is input, Q in. The net work done is calculated by Q out minus Q in, or W out minus W in. So Q in must not be equal to Q net. Therefore we can rearrange, or we can apply the first law of thermodynamics to a cycle. Q net minus W net is equal to delta U, or W net is equal to Q net, or W net is equal to Q in minus Q out, that is heat supplied minus heat rejected. So we can rearrange the term thermal efficiency eta Th is equal to W net upon Qn, replacing the term W net by Qn minus Q out upon Qn, which is equal to eta Th thermal efficiency is equal to 1 minus Q out upon Q in. So thermal efficiency will not be greater than 100% or will not be equal to 100%, it will be always less than 100%. A thermodynamic temperature scale related to the heat transfer between a reversible device and high and low temperature reservoirs by QL upon QH, which is equal to TL upon TH. Therefore, the heat engine that operates on the reversible Carnot cycle is called as Carnot heat engine, and its efficiency is given as eta Th reversible, which is equal to 1 minus TL upon TH, where TL is the lowest temperature of the cycle and TH is the highest temperature of the cycle. Or you can consider here TH is the temperature of heat source and TL is the temperature of heat sink. So next statement of second law of thermodynamics, Clausius statement. It is impossible to design a device which works on a cycle and produce no other effect other than heat transfer from a cold body to a hot body. So heat will not transfer from cold reservoir to hot reservoir without expenditure of work. That is known as Clausius statement. If we consider one example, if two bodies are kept in contact with each other, hot body and cold body, heat will transfer from hot body to cold body unless and until the temperature of both bodies become equal. That is known as thermal equilibrium. But heat has to be transferred from cold body to hot body. For that purpose, some external work has to be applied so that heat will flow from cold reservoir to hot reservoir. So the application of this, that is heat pump and refrigerator. So heat pump is a device which transfers heat from a low temperature medium to high temperature one. The diagram shows a low temperature heat source is there and high temperature heat sink is there. If you supply work to heat pump, it will extract QL amount of heat and it will transfer QH amount of heat to high temperature heat sink. The main purpose of heat pump is to maintain the temperature of heat sink greater than heat source. Refrigerator. Refrigerator is a device which operates exactly similar to heat pump, but the desired output is the amount of heat removed from the system. In this diagram, a cold reservoir which is having at T2 temperature, here refrigerator extracts Q2 amount of heat from cold reservoir and it supplies Q1 amount of heat, which is the addition of Q2 plus W, to hot reservoir, which is considered as atmosphere, and the main purpose is to maintain the temperature of cold reservoir below than that of hot reservoir. For that purpose, external work in the form of electricity is supplied to refrigerator. The index of performance, that is coefficient of performance, is expressed, which is very similar to efficiency. Here this is the line diagram for refrigerator. This is the line diagram for heat pump. In the first diagram, the heat is extracted from cold refrigerated space and that heat is rejected to warm environment, that is atmosphere, and for that purpose we require initial input in the form of electricity. Heat pump and refrigerator works in similar manner, but the outcome is different. Here heat is extracted from the cold environment and that heat is given to the warm house. Here the main aim is to keep the space of warm house as hotter than cold environment. We will see how to calculate COP of refrigerator and heat pump. So here coefficient of performance of refrigerator is given as 1 upon TH upon TL minus 1, that is TL upon TH minus TL. TL is the temperature of cold refrigerated space, TH is the temperature of warm environment. Coefficient of performance of heat pump is given as 1 upon 1 minus TL upon TH, that is equal to TH upon TH minus TL. Again, TH is the temperature of warm house and TL is the temperature of cold environment. The third law of thermodynamics. The third law of thermodynamics states that the entropy of a perfect crystal is 0 when the temperature of the crystal equals to absolute 0, that is 0 Kelvin. Here one diagram is shown that entropy of a pure crystalline substance at 0 is 0. Entropy is 0 at absolute 0 degree centigrade. In order to learn entropy concept, first of all we must know randomness. In this figure, 3 different bottles are shown in which a substance, pure crystalline substance is taken. In the first one, decrease in temperature decreases kinetic energy of the molecule. Again, more decrease in temperature results in more decrease in kinetic energy of crystalline. Second figure. And in the third figure, at 0 Kelvin or minus 273.15 degrees centigrade, the movement of molecule becomes 0 and the moment of molecule is known as randomness. So these 3 figures shows randomness, and by learning this randomness concept we come to entropy. The measurement of randomness of system is known as entropy, or entropy is the measurement of disorder of the system. So The entropy of a perfect crystalline is 0 when the temperature of the crystal is equal to absolute 0, that is 0 Kelvin, or minus 273.15 degrees centigrade. So thank you very much.